Times have you seen uh, a metalcore video? Okay, let me guess. The band's in an empty warehouse, or let
Yeah,
me we're playing in a desert. Let me guess. There's going to be pyro behind them, and they're going to be brooding and dark and intense.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Travis, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, we're here to talk about the EP from Fake Figures, but tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, next week, I'm talking already to Brandon about the new Atreyu release. It's like, they keep you busy. Or is this your own making? Like, is it just hard to sit still for you? Or are people just, driving you nonstop and you wish they would leave you alone for a few days?
It's a little bit of both. Usually when I'm swamped with stuff, I usually whine and complain like, oh, I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. But then when I'm actually sitting on the couch and doing nothing, I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm going crazy. Right. So yeah, that's usually how it works out for me.
Next year is a big musical milestone. It'll be 40 years since Purple Rain was released, and I know you are a massive Prince fan. Do special milestones like that do anything for you as a fan? Are you gonna be celebrating the life of Prince in that album just a little bit more?
Usually those like milestone events, they just make me feel old. But yeah, I mean, I've never really put too much stock into, anniversaries of past.
Right.
I mean, I do enjoy them, but it's not like I put a whole lot of thought into, oh my God, it's the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain. I got to wear all purple now, and I got to put Purple Rain on the TV, and then I got to listen to it all day.
Yeah.
Not my style.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, although colorful outfits like that, if we look at the recent Atreyu videos, would not be a surprise anymore, given what you guys have been having some fun with. Maybe we'll get back to that if we have time. But now that you mentioned that, it's kind of funny because I was checking some of the interviews, other interviews that you and Steve had done, and it became a bit of a threat that how often interviewers would be like, "Oh man, I've been listening to you for 25 years," and basically just saying, "You're so old." Like, is that becoming a bit of a bother? You're classic rock now, or what's going on?
Yeah, we're dad rock now. I mean, it's time flies, and when I hear stuff like, Atreyu's been around for over 20 years, and Fake Figures has 4 releases out now, or 5. I've lost count. It can kind of strike a nerve, like, oh, I'm really that old. But then again, on the flip side, it's like, wow, I still get to do this after all this time. So, it's I'm not complaining at all. I feel it's a reminder of how lucky I really am.
Specifically with Fake Figures, like, you guys have allowed yourself to kind of ebb and flow and evolve from a musical perspective as well. We've seen very diverse material from you guys. We've seen some people come and go as well. Is that one of the main reasons we've seen this musical diversity, or what's the mindset behind taking yourselves where the music is going?
I don't really put a whole lot of thought into whatever it is I'm working on. Like, there's no real finish line or specific goal that I'm trying to achieve, other than just making a great song. and I mean, Fig Figures has been around for better part of a decade.
Yeah.
Very off and on, more off than on, just because it's there's 5 of us and we all have different things going on, and
Exactly.
Getting the 5 of us together and working out schedules and figuring out when are we going to record, how are we going to do it, because we don't have management, we don't have booking, we don't have anything really other than
Right.
sources that the 5 of us have. So it's very, very, very DIY, and we kind of just take things as they come. We're not expecting to be the biggest band in the world or anything.
Right.
Although that would be cool, but let's be real here. So yeah, I mean, we're just doing it for fun, and just kind of seeing what we can do with it, how far we can take it, and yeah, it's pretty much it's a passion project for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, no, for sure. So is it fair to say that almost like to keep that spirit of a passion project amongst friends alive, that the only plan is to not have a plan in a way?
More or less, yeah. I mean, I'm not, not to say that we do things completely haphazardly.
Right.
But, there's no label, breathing down our neck, or we don't hear a single, or, you guys need to get photos done and this and that. It's all, like I said, it's all in our hands. So, and at the end of the day, it's kind of gratifying, knowing that we did this ourselves without really any kind of external help. So, yeah, we're definitely proud of it.
I mean, it's literally going to be in a few minutes from now that your attention has to go back to Atreyu full force, and you're gonna. A lot of shows are already announced. We're going to see you in European festivals and so on, but not a lot of people have had the chance to see you guys play live with Fake Figures. Like, is there any hope to see more of that on the horizon?
We'd love to. But like I said, it's really, really tricky to to tour, especially nowadays. Right. I mean, if an opportunity were to come our way, we would definitely work our asses off to make it work. And if it doesn't work, then that's totally fine too. Because we didn't really have huge expectations for it anyway. So yeah, we're just gonna keep doing it as long as it's fun.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it has to be fun. There's also a very serious element to the music. I mean, if we look at a song like Burn the Tyrants, They Won't Be Sacrificing Me is what we hear. Last time when we spoke was still 2020, and I remember us talking about, like, well, the world, and especially the United States, feels more divided than ever. It was the height of protests around Black Lives Matter, and we obviously had the insurrection that happened and the whole political climate. In songs like Burn the Tyrants, I know there's multiple ways we can interpret that, but has that socio-political atmosphere seeped into the music again?
Honestly, you'd have to ask our vocalist Steve about that. But like you said, it is very, very much open to interpretation.
Right.
I've always been a fan of lyrics that aren't so direct and laid out for the listener. Like, this is exactly what this song is about.
Right.
But then again, that is also cool too, but yeah, I mean, Steve wrote those lyrics and all the vocals to that, and I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of okay with that, because I kind of like making it up in my own head. Well, what could that mean? What did he mean by that? I mean, I could just go up to him and ask him, but
what's the fun of that?
Right, yeah, I kind of like to have a little bit of mystery to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's focus a little bit more on the music. Another I mean, I think more than Prince on these songs on the new EP. I know you're also a big Queens of the Stone Age fan, and that is a band that we do, feel appear at times. At least I find on the EP. Is that? I mean, you're nodding, so I assume that's a fair statement.
Yeah. We're all like, whenever anybody asks, what does Fake Figures sound like? I usually say it's basically just a bunch of old guys from the Orange County hardcore scene who worship Alice in Chains and Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
Yeah. So what do you think of In Time's New Roman, their new album?
It took me a few listens, honestly. But it's very much a Queens of the Stone Age record.
Right.
And I had to listen to it a few times for it to click, but yeah, I love it now.
Yeah. There's a raw honesty to that album, right? And I guess we get that back in both, in Fake Figures and in Atreyu as well. Maybe even more on the nose from a vulnerability perspective with newer Atreyu music. If you don't mind me asking, because obviously, the day's about Fake Figures, there's another time that we can talk about Atreyu, but just given like the amount of videos that you guys have released and what have you, last time we spoke, you were so happy that you guys were able to make a video where you could beat the shit out of Brandon all together for Warrior. Now you guys, make him dress up funnily and do water yoga or roller skate shenanigans. You guys seem to more and more package up some very serious topics and themes and very seem vulnerable and personal songs that I know, if you look at the comments of fans, people are really relating to in the most ludicrous music videos. Is there there's a whole army of people like me on YouTube that can go and dissect everything. What do they mean with that? Or is it just as simple as there's just a couple of guys that are having fun?
It's definitely the latter. I've always found, like you were saying, the music itself, the lyrics, the vibe, the tone of these songs are, some of them are extremely serious and poignant, but then it's kind of like, well, let's ruin all that by releasing a ridiculous video that borderline makes zero sense whatsoever.
Right.
I've always loved things that on paper shouldn't work.
Right.
But then when it actually comes into fruition, it does work.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big Smiths fan, and they kind of always had that kind of vibe, whereas the lyrics are obviously, because they're coming from Morrissey, they're obviously extremely miserable and depressing, but the music is very like upbeat and kind of bouncy. Not all, a lot of their big singles were, and I've always found it somewhat almost kind of humorous in a way, like very tongue-in-cheek.
Is that also somewhat come back to what we were talking about just before about the state of the world today, and not to be too much Debbie Downer in this conversation, but is it almost like a necessity now that you need to channel anxieties and mental health issues and problems that you see, but if we only do that, we're just all going to be so depressed, and that we need a little bit of color and a little bit of fun to balance that out?
I think so. I mean, not the main reason, but a big reason why we kind of, with these videos, just made them so ridiculous and stupid was we were kind of poking fun at our own genre.
Right.
And because, how many times have you seen a metalcore video? Okay, let me guess, the band's in an empty warehouse. Or we're playing in a desert. Let me guess, there's going to be pyro behind them, and they're going to be brooding and dark and intense.
Yeah.
But we've definitely already done that.
Right.
And it's, that whole vibe is, connected to us no matter what we do. But we figured, well, with these videos, let's kind of show people how we really are when we're just hanging out, 5 of us. Because usually, I think most people would be surprised as to how some of their favorite like metal artists aren't exactly the way they portray themselves in the video. It's usually, dick and fart jokes and, us wrestling around on the bus and just basically being children. There's definitely in this field that we're in, there's definitely a extended adolescence that we can get away with. So yeah, we just figured we'd show people the humorous side of us.
And it feels like I'm trying to find something that was never even there.
Norwegian black metal bands don't go grocery shopping, crab walking with corpse paint on.
Right.
Awesome. Now, I mean, to call you old one more time, is this like healthy mentality? Is that an answer you can give today, but that would have been harder for you to do like 10, 15 years ago? Is that a maturity you have to go through to not care so much about image?
I just think it depends on the person.
Okay.
The 5 of us are not the same guys as we were 10 years ago. And those guys aren't the same guys that were, around 10 years before that.
Right.
We're human beings. We grow and we evolve and become more mature, or sometimes more immature, and sometimes we devolve.
Right.
I think it's just the path we all eventually kind of take, and we're definitely not the band that is going to rest on our laurels and doing the same thing over and over and over again. Just doesn't really work for us. We like to try and experimenting and taking left turns when we can, or just throwing whatever at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
I totally get some people hate that. They don't like change. They don't like it when their favorite band turns into something else. I was that same kid too, like I was a huge Metallica fan when I was a little kid, and then they released the Black Album and I was like bummed because there were no fast songs.
Right.
That was because I was a kid. That's what I wanted to hear, like the super fast stuff.
Yeah.
But even at that early age, like I understood why they kind of changed their sound a bit, because you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result and expect to move forward. You're basically just spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
Some bands get away with it, and some bands do that well. And I think that's the reason, prime example, obviously AC/DC, they've been pretty much releasing the same record for better part of 50 years. Yeah. But that's why people, that's why I love it. I know exactly what I'm going to get. But we're just not that band.
New music with Atreyu is going to come out soon, and more will come shortly after that. And we have lots of fun, new, diverse songs with fake figures as well. So lots of new sides of Travis to discover for all the fans. Travis, I promised I would get you back on time in your schedule, and look at that. I think we are doing exactly that. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your flexibility, and I wish you guys all the best with all the stuff that's happening with you at any given time.
Thank you so much, and it's always it's good to talk to you again after 2 years.
But it's just like you to fake it, and now I make it.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.